I don't know.
Yeah, we're on. We're on.
We live?
Yep. Take it away.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Grange TV. We have with us Robert Whittaker and Mr. Eli Hedges, TAFE extraordinaire and podcast bandit. I think we're experiencing technical difficulties again.
We're experiencing technical difficulties again.
That's on. All right.
Someone check their phone.
I'll check my phone to see if we're on, people.
We're on. We're on. It's green. Green lights to go.
All right, excellent.
Okay.
I guess let's start. Let's start by having a chat about the UFC in Adelaide. You were at the UFC in Adelaide. How was that?
I was. So yeah, no, it was good. The UFC is getting great reception in across the country nowadays. The UFC in Adelaide was no exception to that. There was a lot of fans there. It was a good atmosphere. The hotel was great. Saw the fighters. They all looked good. The city of Adelaide is actually beautiful. Like I've been there a couple of times.
City
now.
of churches.
Yeah. Tripped me out. Yeah, it's a beautiful city. It was at the same time they lit the tree in the park across the road. Big Christmas tree, a massive Christmas tree. It's like half the size of the Sydney one. But
I thought you were saying they lit it on fire. After
no. They just turned it on. This isn't Ballina.
How were the fights? What did you think of the fights, Rob? Let's talk about. Let's go from Jimmy Crute through. What did you think of those fights, or any others that you want to speak about specifically?
Yeah, I think props to Jimmy Crute. He you could see his nervousness. You could see the the show affecting him when he was walking out into the way he was fighting. But he managed to just get through that phase of it. Out scramble a lot of the takedowns, just not trying any flashy things, not going crazy, not going ballistic, just did what he needed to do to take away that win, and I was really happy to see he got a submission win at the end, and yeah, props to him and his team.
How much can the nerves change it for someone?
Oh, it's night and day. Like a guy who's experiencing nervousness walking in there, and then maybe anxiety or anxiousness, like they're prone. Two things can happen. They're going to hesitate and second guess a lot of the things they've been working up to that point. Their brain shuts off. You're not thinking clearly. You kind of, like I said, you're second guessing yourself a lot. You're hesitating to go in. You're not doing a lot of what you should be doing. Or you go out there and you just bum rush. You just go straight forward. You get overexcited. You throw too much in the first exchange, which can, often be kind of a game changer.
What do you think of the fights in general there? What do you think of any of those fights? Marks, Bam Bams, Tyson's?
Obviously being a supporter of all the Australians, you're frustrated with the Mark Hunt one, but if I was fighting Mark Hunt, that's what you would do. If I was coaching someone to fight Mark Hunt.
I want to see you fight Mark.
do you know what I mean? That's
I want to see you keep him
do.
at the end of your jab.
You wouldn't want to engage with him, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And get into a fist fight with him, so you'd stay on that outside.
Props to Willis, because he fought that so smart. He fought it very, very, very smart. You see the cut open up on Mark's shin,
but that opens up a lot on Mark on other fights as well.
Like I was sitting ringside, I could see the wound open. Like it was gross.
Did he had a big staph infection on that same leg? Was that the?
Yeah, I don't know.
Earlier in his career,
not too sure.
Yeah, but I think he fought the fight. Do you know what I mean? Really smart. I think, and then the Brazilians, they look like they really came back strong. I thought they were at the end of their career. They looked super good, didn't they? Shogun and
especially with that Shogun fight. The only, if I had to sum up that whole fight for Shogun, which is experience.
He took some bombs off Pedro.
Yeah, he took a lot of hard shots. Pedro was doing very well, keeping him at a range and then getting inside and landing those strikes. It's funny though, the shot that wobbled Shogun to where I thought, oh well, this guy's done, was actually the headbutt when they exchanged in the first.
Hit him with a headbutt.
Yeah, headbutt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and wobbled him bad. Like Shogun was not there for a while, and then he took some other big shots. But then I think it was a failed takedown attempt, or did Shogun turn it and took Tyson down?
I don't know exactly. I can't remember exactly how it happened. What are you talking about? How did the headbutt happen?
No. How did Shogun survive that round?
Yeah, I think they scrambled, and I think Tyson ended up on the bottom.
Yeah.
He
Ended up going for that. Did he go for that Kimura? Was it?
He did go for the Kimura, yeah.
Was it not? That
Yeah.
exchange?
Yeah, and that's how he ended up on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because that's what got Shogun out of that first, and then Shogun. That's when the experience of Shogun started coming through, and you started seeing, okay, he's doing the right things. He went for the takedown. He got the control. Shogun's jiu-jitsu is really high level too.
Yeah, he's very good jiu-jitsu. Both he and his
level.
brother. Both he and his brother.
What happened with the N exchange? Do you know what it was? Was it a knee, an ankle? Because it was like something went out for Pedro, wasn't it? I wasn't.
Yeah. So when Pedro was getting up and Shogun had like the back, he kicked out his left leg. He kicked out his left leg to try and take him backwards, take him back to the mat. And when he kicked out that leg, Tyson did his ACL in his other leg. Now, this isn't hard knowledge. Like this is
just based off your medical experience.
Yeah, this is based off what I did in my medical degree. But I think he did his ACL and injured himself, and then that's when he fell down and he couldn't fight the position on the bottom, and then it went into the third, and then when Shogun went in for that 1-2, Tyson took a step back and his leg gave out, was on the bottom again, and yeah.
That's the thing as well. People don't get, like, in a fight, like there's so many things that have happened. Like some things have happened maybe in the round before, and then people talking about, oh, in the third round he should have done this, or da-da-da-da, and you're like, man, he probably had a broken hand by that stage, or in his case, a torn ACL.
You know what really stood out to me was that fight with Jake Matthews.
Yeah.
Because I thought Jake was fighting really well.
I thought he was too.
And I was disappointed for him for the loss, because I'm a fan of all the Australians, you know. And
Bisping doesn't think so.
Yeah.
You know, did you hear the thing?
Can we talk about that? Can we bring that up?
Why not? A shout out to Bisping's podcast. What is it? Believe You Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only want the best for the Australian fighters. I think I'm, when I was younger, maybe like I would have worried about how the different guys were going up in the division and how that would affect me and whatnot. But now I just want the best for everyone. I don't care about
Bisping
that sort of stuff.
Said in his thing that Rob will be happy that the Australians lost, because that will put the spotlight on Rob.
Okay, so they weren't stealing the spotlight.
Yeah.
So that's.
No, I just want the best for the Australian boys and the New Zealand boys and that, like, the guys fighting out of Australia. Yeah. You know, Australia, New Zealand.
Do you count New Zealand as part of Australia?
Well, yeah. We're down here together, right? Come on.
We're all here at the bottom of the earth together.
Yeah, we're all here right down the bottom together, so it's close enough. You know, New Zealand's closer than Perth.
It is, for us, true, Sydney people.
Yeah, so, but what, got sidetracked, but what really stood out for me in that Jake Matthews fight was, what was the name of the guy he fought? Sorry?
Oh, man, I know the guy's name.
Because I don't want to butcher this.
I'll find it. It's Rocco Martin, but that's not his real. It's Anthony Martin.
Anthony Martin. Okay, I'm just going to call him Rocco, because he did change his name that night.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that night, but that's his fight name. But every exchange they got in, because he tried to go toe and toe with Jake a few times. Came off second best a lot.
Yeah, but Jake hit him with a few right hands.
Yeah, and Jake was loading up with those right hands the whole fight. But you know what really stood out to me was Rocco was nailing that shin, and it didn't affect him in the first. It didn't affect him in the second, but in the third round, when Jake went in to try and go for a single, his leg actually gave out on him.
So it was like an investment.
Exactly. You know, he chipped away, and then he paid dividends in the third round. And then when his leg gave out on him, Rocco just jumped straight onto that choke, and
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking leg kicks, see when Bam Bam hit JDS with those calf kicks? Did you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my god! That one big one. JDS was limping the whole rest of the fight. I thought JDS was going to be done.
I did as well. I thought Bam Bam was good, looked really good.
He looked good.
Have you seen
juniors experience? Maybe
100%.
Yeah, nah, yeah. Well,
you were there, so what
yeah,
do you think?
I think like that calf kick. One, let me just shout out to Bam Bam's legs because they are huge. they are so big. I would not want to get hit with them ever. And JDS took it straight on the shin, and then as soon as you took that big shot, there was one that stood out to me. He was limping for the rest of the fight. Wasn't pushing forward. Wasn't doing any of that. Like he was just limping. You know, I think another shin kick like that from Bam Bam would have ended the fight. So I'm pretty sure he did damage, like proper damage. Two, JDS was fighting smart on the outside. He was waiting for Bam Bam to come in and then just clipping him like on kind of like the counter strikes and then getting out. You know, and I thought it might play out like that only because JDS has fought Mark Hunt before, and Bam Bam is similar to Mark Hunt in that like that knockout power and that like close mid-range danger, but more agile. But I thought like JDS obviously has to respect his striking, and he'll just fight on the outside like he did with Mark Hunt that time.
Yep.
And that's exactly what he did. He stayed on the outside. He counter-struck when Bam Bam would go in, and you know a lot of the time when Bam Bam was going in, he was copping shots. You know, he was copping shots.
I thought Junior looked good.
I thought he did
really good. Not just I think body-wise and that as well. Sometimes he looks like he has a lot of muscle on, and I think that's when he gets really tired really quick and that muscle mass. But I thought he looked really good.
What do you think about the Welcome to Country?
I think it was opened up the world's eyes to it. Do you know what I mean? A little bit. So it was on what is it? Embedded.
Yeah.
They had it on there and that. JDS, he really embraced it and stuff like that. I think it was a really good acknowledgement to traditional custodians in Australia and opened it up for everyone in the world.
I think it was a great like insight into Australian culture. I definitely think that like good on Bam Bam for doing that.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Holloway and Ortega fight?
Yeah, that was
you
crazy.
didn't watch it?
No, I didn't get to watch it.
Shame on you, mate.
I know, mate.
Shame on you.
I didn't get to watch it yet.
Shame.
Congratulations to Shevchenko as well for her win against Joanna. I can't say her name.
New belt holder, new champion.
Yeah, was that a good fight?
Yeah, look, but Shevchenko's beat a few times, I think, as in Muay Thai as amateurs. Yeah, so that's kind of how they were going to fight. So that good for them as well. But that fight with Ortega and Holloway they both did a really, really good job. But Holloway had like laser accuracy, hit him with boom, 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 boom on the eye.
You think he took the new record for significant strikes landed in a fight and in UFC? I
seen the
like almost close to 300 significant strikes.
I seen the highlights, and he doesn't load up on anything, does he?
He just pitter patter,
and it just continues on.
Pitter patter pressure.
It's like you can't get his timing or something like that, and he just.
I was not expecting that from Holloway, to be honest.
What do you think was going to happen?
Well, I don't know because of the medical issues that he's had leading up to it. I didn't know how he was going to come back. I didn't know how he
same fighter.
Yeah, I didn't know whether he was going to be the same, and for him to come in and then just dominate like that was you know, it was just he from when he entered the UFC to now, he's a completely different fighter.
He's got that crazy Samoan endurance that you Samoans are known for.
So, isn't he Hawaiian?
Yeah, but his background's Samoan.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, same as you. Like I think he's got a parent that's Samoan. I'm serious. That's where this cardio comes from. Like yours. Yeah, because Samoan's always winning marathons.
I wanted to bring that up.
You know, though, he takes shots. He takes big shots and he just walks through them.
And that's funny because Samoans are not known for their chins.
Oh my God! Shut up. Oh man! But like he took big shots from Ortega, but he just for every one shot he ate, he offered 5 in return. He said, "Thank you. Here you go. Here's your change."
He's good, man. Holloway. So they're both good. That was a really good fight. I've been hanging for that fight.
I'm liking the rumours of him moving up and fighting either
DC. He said that. He said, fight DC.
Did he really?
Yeah. He's been calling DC out.
Yeah,
Who would you like to see him at fight in lightweight?
Ferguson.
Oh, him and Ferguson would be
Him
good
and
fight.
Ferguson would be good fight. A rematch with Conor would be good.
Yep.
I'm happy for that. Like, that would be good. I'd like to see him fight Khabib, but I think that's a harder fight.
I'd like to see him fight Kevin Lee. I think Kevin. I think Kevin
fight Kevin Lee.
I like watching Kevin Lee fight. Period. So. Any of them, but
Yeah.
Holloway and Kevin Lee would be a cool fight to watch.
Holloway and McGregor, I want that to happen.
Yeah, I think a number 2 of that would be interesting.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
because
people
McGregor jumped him when he was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, he's come a long way since then. You know, I want to see that fight. Plus, it's a payday for Holloway, so you know, props to him. I want
he
him.
probably deserves a good payday. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Good on him.
On that big stage.
Get more cupcakes.
What about the same weekend of the Adelaide fight? You had your tough finale. Yeah, I thought you would have
Yes.
been over there for it.
Nah.
Nah,
No,
we usually doing promotional work here.
no,
yeah,
we got
Well, you wouldn't have made it back for Adelaide.
no, because we had like Adelaide fight card kind of fit in to the media week of the pre-sale for UFC Melbourne, which was announced a couple of weekends ago, which is now sold out.
Australian record.
Australian record, one of the Australian records for fastest selling out.
But you can still catch it on pay-per-view.
Yeah. Please. Okay, please.
Please buy a pay-per-view.
Please buy the pay-per-views. I need this.
I really need it.
I need this. No, yeah, the Melbourne was announced. But yeah, the tough finale did happen. There were a lot of fighters from the tough series that me and what I like to say, Fab's Army went through. So and congratulations to Juan for winning that, winning the show. I think he's going to make big waves in the UFC. His wrestling is wrestling grappling is grappling is legitimate. So I'm very.
Were you pretty confident from the start that he would be there at the end?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think they asked me. They said who's gonna win this show, and I said Juan. Like, hands down, he'd have to go out of his way and do something stupid for him to lose.
Yeah. We had an earlier podcast where Fab, you were talking about one of the guys in the house was using meditating and that to deal with the house, and that was
Juan came in extremely well prepared. He came in like he'd seen a psychologist. He had a whole bunch of different ways of dealing with the pressure of the house, meditating. Let me just find what that thing's called.
The colouring in.
Yeah.
What was it?
Sports colouring in sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's got a, oh man, I can't. It'll come. The acronym is DBT. That's what it's dialectic behavioral therapy, and that's dialectical behavioral therapy, and that's like when they paint and that, and it takes away like you're concentrating on colouring in and not necessarily on the other stuff that's going on. And he had his colouring in books, and he was always going through it and doing that and everything. So he was like really switched on. Like, he was really switched on. I remember speaking with him a few times, and like we would talk about what, because you couldn't have your own reading material in the house, so he would order different religious books like the Quran, the Bible.
Oh really?
I think some Buddhist stuff. Like he ordered a whole bunch of different books in to read because
they would only allow religious books.
Yeah, they'd only allow religious books, and so he didn't go in there and just sit there and drink and.
Yep.
Because I think you might still win the show if you're a good enough fighter, but you got to keep your head together in there as well. In the best way that you can, and so he was switched on.
And another big thing was that he came ready.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't come out of shape, fat. Not fit, he was training hard before that, and that
looks super strong. He looks thick.
He's stronger than he looks.
Yeah.
He's a monster of a dude. Like, He got Mung strength. Yeah.
Also, we said we were going to do we can go backwards and forwards, and we can start doing the Q&A now.
Yep.
But there's no actual structure for today. I also like to apologise for starting the podcast late. This was squarely Eli's fault.
Yeah.
So
This is what I'm not the tech guy.
No,
Everyone
you
probably
certainly.
who watches it
After
says
today,
that
you certainly
I
are
press
not.
these 3 buttons, and everyone thinks I'm the tech guy. I'm not.
There's a gentleman named Mbid, and I'm just going to answer his questions. Is do they read the comments, or do they already have questions? We read the comments, and I just read your comment, and I'm answering it.
Shout out to your comment.
A big shout out to David Burns, who I agree with. People don't bring up how handsome Fab is often enough. Generally, people focus more on my funny shaped head and my overbite.
I'm just surprised that the headset's on properly this time.
It's hard because of the fucking cone head. It's not something that you guys need to go and fucking make fun of. It's hard, man. It's not easy. Hey Rob, last episode you mentioned you fight lots of Southpaw fighters. Why don't you man up and change your stance to Southpaw? From your friend Beetlejuice.
Yeah, all right.
Just change up.
Done. Just changed it.
You're changing it straight away, eh?
Just done.
Is it hard for you to fight Southpaws in reality? Or are you more used to it now?
No, it's different. It's different, but nothing that a little practice and just some small changes can't fix. But
Is it harder for you to adjust back to orthodox?
It depends how much work you've had to do. Because, for instance, I've been fighting a Southpaw fight the last 2 years, 3 years.
Other than Jacare.
Other than Jacare, but so it was very hard. It's hard to switch back.
Was it hard to switch when Romero came out orthodox?
Yeah, super hard. I guess because I had closed off that possibility for some reason. I shouldn't have, but yeah, that was one of the trying moments in the fight. Was just I didn't really take that into consideration.
Aiden Kovacic, I didn't say your name properly. How specific and tailored is the training in each respective camp to the skill set of your opponent?
Yeah, I guess this would be a better question for you because I just rock up to the sessions.
Well, you don't always rock up to sessions, mate.
Wow.
Let's be honest.
That's
Brutal kicking and screaming.
You're there at least 30% of the time. Well, no, but you answered. The question's for you, not for me.
No, but we got the brains of the operation here.
I think we definitely focus a lot on the idiosyncrasies of the particular person you're fighting, but we don't spend ages on necessarily, what if the person does this? There's idiosyncrasies that a person does that we look for, and then we focus on what Rob's going to do in that fight, not necessarily to counter that person. Because like you saw in the Romero fight, good guy could come out and fight you orthodox, and then it's completely different. But what Romero can't change are the idiosyncrasies that make him Romero, so those things kind of stay the same. So we try and look at those idiosyncrasies and then figure out how we're going to impose our game on that particular person, as opposed to trying to combat their strengths and whatnot. It's hard because you're not going to find, another Romero or another Gastelum, so to speak. The next one is, do you have any personal routines or practices you engage in to deal with pre-fight nerves, or even to simply get you in the zone?
I guess the whole lead up to the fight is the sort of ritual. If I would look back and compare them, I do a lot of the similar things. Nothing that stands out to me like I only open doors with my left hand or something like that. But I just, when I wake up for the fight on fight day, that's all I'm focusing on. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm trying to stay limber, and just trying to feel good. You know, that's the day I give myself to kind of think about and obsess about the fight. You know, because I try not to think about it too much until I reach that day.
So no, Susa, can't even get that word out. I'm lost here.
Say what you got to say.
You don't have any rituals that you do at all? A certain pair of shorts you like to wear, or certain shoes, socks?
No, I try not to. I don't leave it to superstitions. I don't leave it to luck, because once you fall down that rabbit hole,
yep,
it goes deep.
Yeah.
You know, then every little thing. Oh no, I didn't get the smoothie I wanted. And with the fights being in a different country, different state, you can never have the exact same thing every single time you fight. You know, you may not sleep well the night before. You just got to. The only thing you can control is what you're doing, what you do. And, you know, that's kind of how I go into fights.
Albi, do you think Australia will ever get a bigger amateur wrestling culture?
That's hard. This would be a better question for you, Fab.
Mate, you cannot deflect.
Why can't I?
He's deflected.
You're much more knowledgeable with the Australian wrestling scene than I am.
You need to.
No.
But what do you think? It's not what do I think. It's what do you think? Otherwise, I would have asked Fab.
Well, Fab, what do you think?
No, but you got to answer. What do you think? Do you think that there'll be?
No.
Why is that?
I just don't think it's. I just don't see it. I just don't think. I just don't think there's a structure for growth. I don't think there's a foundation for growth. I don't think, to be honest, that they want it to grow. What do you think, Fab?
I have to agree with you to a certain extent. I look at like judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and even other different kind of grappling like competitions that are coming off the side of that are doing everything right. They're running it properly. They're doing they want the sport to grow, and they're competing, and I see it much more organised. I see Australian wrestling was, for the most part, was in the hands of a few people that wanted to do well, but they just didn't have the admin behind it, the administrational skills behind it for a long time, and it got left to the wayside, like really, really badly. I see the Australian Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu scene becoming huge. I see we have some really, really good guys coming up, making waves in Australian Jiu-Jitsu. We have some really good, strong judo guys, and it saddens me and makes me sad that Australian wrestling is not. I think there's a lot of silly infighting for a long time, and a sport that small can't handle the politics and the silliness, to the point that people like that were involved in it have gone to other sports, gone to other grappling sports. So unfortunately, I don't see it growing. I hope that it does, and be good to see a change. But no, I don't see it. I see Australian Jiu-Jitsu and judo becoming bigger and stronger and just going from strength to strength. Barboza or Hooker for any of you guys?
That's a tough fight.
I'm going to go. Sorry, I can't. Sorry to interrupt, but I have Daniel Hooker winning.
Yeah.
By guillotine.
Guillotine.
Yes, sir. Second round guillotine.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think Hooker takes that win. I don't know where. Like I think he's definitely crafty enough to get a guillotine, but his stand-up game lately has been really on point. I think Barboza's a tough opponent, super dangerous, but Hooker's on fire. He's got a strong skill set and he's doing the right things.
Eli?
I've liked Barboza for a long time, so I'd like it to see him pull off a spectacular knockout, but I don't know if he's just well-rounded enough. So
interesting fight. Interesting. I'm a fan of Daniel Hooker since that day that he was cutting weight with us in the sauna that time, and he looked like he was going to die when he was cutting a featherweight. I don't know how he made featherweight. Like, when he was in the sauna that day, I honestly thought, fuck, this guy's going to die. And he made the weight and fucking made himself a fan for life. Because that was a big one. What do you think about the UFC selling out this person put in 8 minutes. I don't know if it was 8 minutes, but what do you think about the UFC selling out that quickly?
I think it was great. I think it's great for Australian mixed martial arts. I think it's great for the sport. I think it's great for the mixed martial artists here in Australia, because the more spotlight we can get on the sport itself means that there's just more opportunities and spotlight on the athletes to do this professionally and to make a living and to be able to provide for themselves, doing what they love.
What do you think, Eli?
Yeah, it just went so quick. Like I said, I didn't expect it. I jumped on in the afternoon thinking there was going to be heaps of seats. There was nothing. So, Rob, I guess you just got to start handing out them thousands of tickets that the UFC give you.
The freebies.
How do you think a match with you and Thompson would go if you fought today? Or is he just a tough stylistic matchup?
Where's the matchup, though? Is the matchup at middleweight?
I'm going to say yes, because I don't think you make 170.
Never make 170. I think it's a tough fight. Thompson's a great fighter. His timing and striking is phenomenal. But I think I can handle it. I would handle it differently this time. I think it'd be a different fight than when I fought him in the beginning. I was very inexperienced when I fought him the first time, and I did a lot of things differently than I would do now. So I think it'd be a better fight. I don't know if I'll win or lose, but I think I'd give him a better fight this time round.
What do you think, Eli? You going for Thompson?
Thompson? You going for Thompson?
Not at all. Not at all. Especially him going up a weight. No, don't think so. But maybe the same thing as what Rob said, the experience. You've already fought him once. I think you've grown a lot as a fighter from then. Big time. The same thing as maybe, as we discussed before, as when Holloway and Conor fought. Do you know what I mean? He's went leaps and bounds from then. Have you had a loss since that fight?
No.
There you go. So pretty much the same on the winning streak. I think it would be a different outcome.
There's Tarek, 44. He's 19 years old, 6 foot, 215 pounds. Wants to start training in MMA and eventually compete. He plays football but doesn't want to play anymore and wants to know what advice you'd give him. And I'm assuming it's about fighting, not cooking or stuff like that.
Just get into a gym and train. That's where it all starts. You just got to train and just got to find a gym. You just got to start. Just start. Don't worry about competing just yet. Just focus on training. Focus on getting better. Just focus on doing the different arts.
I think that's a big thing, with people. They get real carried away with what they have to do, and the big thing is just start training, man. Just get in the gym and start. How do you stop yourself from this is Ryan Duffy, 44, asks, how do you stop yourself from blowing out from getting fat? How hard is it to not blow out when you're not in training camp?
I don't think I have the right to answer this, do I? I don't have the right to answer this, do I?
How easy is it?
Well, talk about that.
What's your poison? What's your weakness?
Anything you put on a plate.
I can't give advice on this because almost every time I blow out, I try not to. It is so hard because me in particular, I eat a lot. I like eating, and I'm also an emotional eater. So how I'm doing emotionally affects how I'm eating, and I like eating. And then once I start that downward slide on the eating binge, I just can't stop. I just love it,
And so, how hard is it to stop it? How hard is it to regain the reins, so to speak?
Well, super hard. To be honest, I don't think I'd be able to do it by myself.
Without support.
Yeah, if I didn't have the support of my team and my coaches, and being harsh with me when they need to be harsh and being kind with me when they need to be kind, then I probably wouldn't be able to stop the binge. I wouldn't be able to stop the blowout because it's too hard. And then for one, for me, I don't even recognise I've fallen down the vortex of food binging, getting fat, not training. I don't even realise I'm there until I get dragged out of it, and then I'm like, wow, That was close.
So,
Weidman, sorry, Eli.
have you had an argument over a Snickers before?
Over Snickers? Never over Snickers.
No, not Snickers. But we've had many chats.
Weidman was on there recently on an interview with Errol Hawani talking about he just blew up to about 108 kilos because he said pounds and I had to work it out, but it's about 108 kilos.
That's after the fight, is it? Was it?
Just
Or-
after this fight with Jacare, yeah.
Okay.
And whilst you didn't get quite to 108, you could get to 108 quite easily if left to your own devices.
Yeah, if left to myself, and like I just get fat, like I get big.
Is it
fat.
quality food or is it just anything? Like
It's
KFC,
everything.
everything.
Anything that I can eat, I eat. Like to the point where, like, I'm full, but then I go to the cupboards and there's nothing in them. There's nothing except bread or like crackers. And I eat the crackers. Like I eat anything I can find in the house. Like nothing is safe. Yeah, I just.
But it's extremely easy, and you just go eat, and the weight goes up, and then you don't feel like training, etc., etc. Rio Mintz asks, what does Fab teach at TAFE? Eloy, can you talk about the Gracie program, because you did the Gracie program, and now, yeah, so maybe that'd be a better answer.
Well, but the Gracie program was I think you started it last year, wasn't it?
No,
Early
probably
last
2
year?
years ago now.
2 years, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, last year, 2017 was the first year. We were Group 3, or Group 2.
Okay.
So it was just a course that we work with Aboriginal Pathways, TAFE New South Wales. It's a Cert 3 and 4 in fitness with a Gracie partnership with Gracie. So we fly in Aboriginal people from all over New South Wales. They come down, it's a block release course. They come down, stay down here and study their Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, and also do some jiu-jitsu fundamentals. We have people like Rob come in, some other guys who work with Rob, coaches and that, and yeah, so you teach fitness, Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, and now the guys who did
And
that
a diploma in fitness
yeah,
as
have
well.
continued on and done a dual diploma in business and fitness, so it continues on, yeah.
Says Mason Walker asks Fab and Rob, who's your pick for Lee versus Ally Quinta? I'm going to also add Eli to this answer.
Okay.
So, Quinta or Lee or Kevin Lee? They fought before, Raging L1.
Yeah.
Who you got?
Man, Al's very good. He's very, very good. I think his skill set's legit. I can't pick, to be honest. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna pick. Sorry about the shit answer, but I think they're very closely matched. Yeah.
Well, how do you think the fight could go?
Well, it depends. Like, they both got the same sort of skill set, don't they? Like the same sort of fight style.
I don't know if they got the same fight style. I think they have similar skill sets. They're both good wrestlers, both great grapplers, both good boxing.
Yeah, who has the better hands, you reckon?
What do you think, Eli?
I'd say Lee. I think Lee's a little bit more athletic, a bit more explosive.
Yeah, I think Al has probably got. I think Al might be cleaner technically, but I think Lee's a bit more powerful.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good clash of styles.
Yeah,
Who you got, Eli?
Lee, I think, yeah, his athleticism.
And he's a big guy, man. I've seen him in Vegas. He's a fucking big guy. I like them both, I like them both. I like them both a lot. I like Kevin Lee's fight style. I really, really do. But I like Raging Al. He's got such a fucking cool personality. He's so angry all the time. I really, really like that. I really like that he's fucking. I don't know. Hey, either one of them, because I can't pick that. I would have liked to have picked it.
I think Lee. I'm gonna go Lee. I think Lee.
McDar01 says, I'd ask you, Fab. Making fun of you, Rob. And
I don't get that one.
Yeah, neither do I.
Because Rob deferred to me the question twice. Says, to think I'm Mr. Olympia, says, Fab, how do we get involved with the jiu-jitsu? I'm assuming you mean with the Gracie program. Eli, how would you get involved with the Gracie program, the Aboriginal Pathways?
Yeah.
We're going to run another one in second semester of next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So probably the best way would either be to get onto Facebook, find us at Western Sydney Aboriginal Pathways. Maybe send us a message on there and we'll try to contact you and put you down for expression of interest. Or you could contact TAFE directly or maybe Gracie directly and they'll be able to give you an email or a phone number and get in contact with us there.
Okay, the Scottish King asks, who is the next big star coming out of Australia not yet in the UFC?
Bradley Fulmer. Okay.
It could be Brad. He's a young kid, trains at our gym. He's 16 years old. Been wrestling and doing jiu-jitsu since he's 4 or 5 years old. He's had a few amateur boxing fights. He's going to try for Commonwealth Games in boxing. He's got a good pedigree. Could be.
He's been living on the mat since he was a boy.
Yeah, he's still a boy, but yeah. I don't know. Who do you think, Rob? Other than that,
well, we got a bunch of talent in our gym at the moment, like with Jacob and Izzy and David. Like those guys could be in the UFC already, but they're just doing the right things. They're competing in boxing still. They're competing in jiu-jitsu. They're training hard. They're training with me every day, like and they put it on me every day. You know, so we got tough guys from the gym coming up now. So yeah, I'd keep your eye out for those guys. Definitely.
The other thing is like there's a lot of like decent grapplers that like someone I don't know that he would, or I don't know that, you know, have no thing, but there's guys like Craig Jones now and Kit Dale and like some really good grapplers in Australia that are coming through that if they were to want to transition over they'd be a very big handful for anyone, and that's just people in that, you know, from the grappling world or whatnot. So I don't know, there's enough talent here, even in striking sports. We've got a lot of good boxers, a lot of good kickboxers as well now. But now we've always had a tradition, same as New Zealand, of having very good stand-up people. And I think now with you having your guys like Craig Jones and that are making big waves in jiu-jitsu, I don't know, I think there's going to be some really exciting people coming through in Australia in the next 5-10 years or so, because we're starting to get world-class grappling guys. So, yeah, that's what I think. Eli, do you know of anyone?
No, I would have suggested the same guys. I think there's a lot of promotions that are doing really well in Australia that are nice and healthy and got plenty of fighters coming through with good records and that. I just don't know them, all personally, but I think all up and down the coast, Melbourne, Western Australia, they've all got a pretty healthy MMA scene. So I think, yeah, like you said, we'll have a lot of fighters going through whether it's 1FC or Bellator or UFC. I think, we'll be strong. And like you said, I think we've always had a strong pedigree of stand-up fighters, and now that our jiu-jitsu and our grappling and that's getting stronger here, it only makes sense that we're going to have better MMA fighters.
What weight do you consider yourself fat at? Like how I would elaborate for me, like actually curiously, is at what point, which you kind of answered before, but at what point do you go, I'm getting out of shape?
100 kilos.
That's where you draw the line?
Yeah, that's where. Well, 98 is like I'm on the border, like I'm on the fence. Like it could go either way right now. But then once I hit 100 kegs, like I know that I've gone too far.
Ethan Pitt said, "Do you guys watch the Wilder versus Fury fight?"
I did not.
Did you?
I think I remember talking to you. I got to see the first 4 rounds and then the last 2. So I didn't get to watch the whole. I was being a cheapskate and watching it. I was watching the UFC and watching it on my mate's live feed on the thing, and it went out after the 4th round, and I got to see the last 2. But I think a draw is a good. Do you know what I mean? Even though everyone's saying that it should have went to Fury, I think a draw is a good result for them. Do you know what I mean? For heavyweight boxing at the moment. What do you think, Fab?
Man, I thought Fury was going to win, and then when I watched the fight, I thought Fury won it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when you're watching the actual, like when you watch it back or whatever, and it's hard, man, because people say that, but I don't know, with the judges, like, to me, I thought Fury won. But then when you're sitting there, I don't know, because like those shots he took, they were massive. I don't know how they scored it necessarily. I don't really know enough about it, but fuck, it was just a good fight, I think, you know.
That's how come I think it was a good result.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because hopefully we're going to be able to just watch it again. So.
Yeah, I thought he fucking died. I thought Fury died when he got hit. Somebody asked, do you think Tuivasa needs more grappling experience? I think Eli should answer that.
Rob?
I think we all need more grappling experience. I think I need more grappling experience. I think everyone could do with more grappling experience, not just him.
Is it hard for a big guy like him to find other bodies to? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I know you look at me and you think like I would know.
But for example, we have Ruben do you know what I mean, out here at Smeaton Grange, and sometimes I feel sorry for him because he just doesn't have that big amount of bodies to go 100% on. Would Ty not?
I think. Yeah, but I think like what are you going off? Are you going off the fact that he got hit in the chin by Dos Santos 3 times in a row, got dropped, and then Dos Santos jumped into mount? And then Dos Santos is dropping hammer fists on your face, and you're saying, "Oh, he's got bad grappling."
Yeah, needs to work on his.
That's what I think as well is a big thing. Like I don't know. I
haven't really seen it.
Yeah, I haven't really dealt with Bam Bam, but I think he wouldn't be the first person that lands on his back after Dos Santos hits him with a left hook and the grappling doesn't look good. You know, that's what I think. Derek asks, curious how Rob originally learned his boxing skills. Has a very interesting style, almost like Roy Jones. Fuck, that's insulting to Roy Jones. Low hands, leaping lead uppercuts. Rob's right head kick is super fluid too, super unique. You want to speak on that?
So what's the question?
Where'd you learn your boxing skills originally, your original boxing skills?
Original boxing, like before I did boxing?
I guess it would be your
yeah, like what's your talk about your background in striking.
Yeah, my background in striking comes from Goju-Ryu karate. So that's kind of where I get my attacks, blitz attacks from. Like that's where my foundations for striking came from. And then obviously working with Justin Fitzgerald and doing my boxing, I've mixed that in well with my boxing and jumping in and stuff like that. And, you know, also did a lot of like that sort of striking with Henry Perez as well, you know, when I was growing up with him. So, yeah, it just kind of all added together.
How much of your striking is instinctual? How much do you think is innate versus how much of it is based off your karate background and all your other striking that you've done? That's me, I'm asking that.
To be honest, if I had to really tell you, probably like 50-50. Like before I did striking, before I did boxing, before I did any of that, I always felt I could win a fight in a scrap. I don't know. I don't know why. And yeah, I think 50-50. Obviously, you can't leave it 50-50 at the highest level, you know. But yeah, I think that same with a lot of those strikers, the high level ones like Holloway and stuff.
Do you guys think Alex Volkanovski will be the next Aussie to fight for a belt?
Who's he?
Chad. He's fighting Chad.
Good chance. Like good chance. He's top caliber. You know.
If he beats Chad, he would.
Fuck, he should be up there, yeah.
Because
and he can definitely beat Chad.
Yeah.
I think they're already on the Chad bandwagon that he's back. I've seen some promotions about, do you know what I mean, saying he's back on the scene. So all them other guys need to watch out, Max and everyone. So I guess, yeah, he's definitely on the scene.
Kickboxing was so big years ago, even K1 days. However, MMA has taken over. Why isn't it as mainstream as MMA and not mainly European based? I'm assuming, why do you think K1 is not, or kickboxing is not as big as MMA?
that's hard to say. You know, just MMA is, you know, the fastest growing sport in the world. It's exciting, it's dynamic to watch, and UFC are promoting the absolute hell out of it. Like they
have a good business model.
Yeah, they're just pumping it everywhere. So you know, I think a big thing is marketing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think, do you know what I mean? It's the business model they have. I don't know if the guys in kickboxing or K1 have that same business mind that the UFC had and made it what it is. That's how come it's the fastest growing sport. I don't think you can argue with that. And then just MMA in general, I think I heard this morning that ONE FC they get more viewers for their events than UFC, because the whole of Asia is just huge. Do you know what I mean? So they have more viewers for their events than
and they're
UFC.
free.
Yeah,
they're free. Like you get the app, and then you just watch it on the app.
Yeah.
I watch their fights. They're good.
So I think just the way they've built it up.
Ramon Villa wants to know the opinion: wrestling or BJJ? Like wrestling better than BJJ? Question mark. Question mark. What do you think?
I don't know. To be honest, I think a great wrestler can beat a good jiu-jitsu guy.
A good jiu-jitsu guy or a great jiu-jitsu guy?
A great jiu-jitsu guy.
In what? In a fight?
No, in like a grappling match.
How? In what rules?
Yeah,
like
it's
happened in Abu Dhabi. Like a lot of high-level wrestlers
but in
winning.
in what rules? What? Like Abu Dhabi rules?
Abu Dhabi rules.
I think to me, it depends what you're asking for. Like, which one's a better base for MMA? Is that the question, or which one would you just rather do? Or like, I don't know. But I do think, like, well, Weidman did very, very well in Abu Dhabi, and he was relatively green as a grappler. I think he went to the final or something with Andre Galvao, or quarterfinals or whatever. But I think at some point, when you look at like the folk style wrestling and like people start doing jiu-jitsu, it goes back to being basically catch wrestling, like jiu-jitsu, grappling. Like I don't, from a combat perspective, I think you can't really make that big of a distinction. It has to be, it's grappling. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about combat, then if you're just talking about then otherwise, like the rule sets are going to dictate which one is better. Like I think that's my opinion.
Which one do you enjoy doing more, training more?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, I'm not leaning any which way.
What do you think, Eli?
I wouldn't. Wasn't that the whole point of the first UFC, to sort of say which one was better and the jiu-jitsu guy won? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I think there'd be aspects where the wrestler would dominate the jiu-jitsu guy, but then when it hit the ground and that, it's a totally different story. It depends on the question. Being a more jiu-jitsu guy or a jiu-jitsu guy, I would say jiu-jitsu.
Rob, what's your favourite food to eat when you're not in camp, or what's the heaviest you've ever weighed?
I think I got to about 106, 108.
As a welterweight?
As a welterweight.
Yeah, when you're a welterweight. And that's like 245 pounds or something.
Yeah.
When he was at welterweight, 240 pounds or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like Japanese food a lot. I like a lot of that, like the ramen and udon. I love that type of food. But I like Italian food as well. I like all food. It's like I'm a glutton.
What don't you like?
I'm a glutton.
It says, does the camera add 10 pounds, or is Gastelum really that fat? That's brutal. Ryan, come on, mate. Can I say something? Like, Gastelum's a fucking big guy. He's short, but his head's huge.
Yeah, he's stocky.
And his body's like big, like real big and thick.
Yeah, he looks thick.
He's not little. He's like short.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's actually not little. He's like a real, like if you played rugby league here, he'd be like a hooker, like a big hooker.
You wiped him in that run.
Yeah.
You've wiped the floor with him. Yeah. Was that a moral win? Was that?
No, I just couldn't lose that. Jeez.
Yeah.
How good was it to destroy Kelvin in the 5 kilometre race? Yeah. He was spewing before the end, poor guy.
Yeah, I think that was more just due to the heat. It was so hot out there. It was like 48 degrees. Like it was hot. but it was good in a way because we got the money and everyone got a payday out of it. But it was there was nothing special in that.
Tristan Cannell, who was a guest here on this and runs his own podcast called TK Podcast, please listen to that podcast if you get a chance, says, "Hello lads, hope you're all well. How much time does Rob spend in specific disciplines each week?"
Yeah, it's kind of scattered across the board evenly. So I kind of evenly space out. Every session has a time slot, and they all add up. Like I do the same amount of jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing, boxing sessions as any other.
But is it specific, or how much of that is mixed? How much of that is like?
Yeah, everything's specific. You know, sometimes we mix it if the classes blend into the next one, or if the coaches decide to mix it, they can. But every class is designated as a particular style.
Derek, when you were getting ready for Yol or Jacare, what's the mindset when training for a grappler wrestler of that caliber? Your defensive wrestling is extremely good. Is that the focus?
Not really. Like I try to get better at everything across the board. I try to get my defensive wrestling better, just period. And I work on my striking. You know, obviously I tailor it a little bit towards if I don't want to get taken down, I'll make sure that I don't overcommit a lot with certain strikes. But you know, more or less, it's more just about me increasing my skill sets and then going out there and just putting it together better than I have before. And
I think that's a strategy, but the tactics as well is like you're not going to go out and try and take Jacare down if you can help it. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but you train all of it. Ethan Pitt asks an interesting question. Do you guys feel disrespected by the way some of your fighters talked about Rob's team and training during the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I don't care. Like it is what it is. I didn't think they were very good trainers, students. Like it's just different. The way I train isn't for everyone. Not everyone can handle it, and it showed in the house because they wanted to do different things, but they couldn't hit the sessions to begin with. They didn't have the discipline. They didn't have the fortitude. You know, a lot of the time when we were doing cardio, they were like, "Oh, it didn't work enough cardio." And a lot of the time when we were working cardio, Fab was beating everyone.
Hey, whoa!
No,
come on. There's nothing wrong with me beating people.
No, but like they were supposed to be fight ready.
That was harsh, mate.
No, that wasn't. Harsh. They were supposed to be fight ready. Fab's a TAFE teacher, and he's beating people. Like, and then they're complaining that they want to run cardio. It's like, you don't have cardio. Do the normal cardio. Like try to win that. Try to push yourself in that. And you know what? Another thing is like we have how big was our training slot? 2 hours.
Yeah.
We had a 2-hour training slot, and then people were rocking up for the session an hour in from a massage, or leaving an hour early to go to a massage. Like every session, it was something like that. And I was thinking, like, you guys are pathetic.
I think a big problem with that is like when sometimes people think they're better than what they are. Like when you have someone like Master Sergio there, or Rob or whatever, and man, you like me personally, it's not hard for me to understand that because I know that I'm not that good, but like people don't really get it. Like, nah, man, like you're not at that level, and like you might be a black belt or a brown belt or wrestled. You wrestled 4 years in college, and then you got a guy that's on the mats that's like Hickson Gracie's hardest match. People say that he was beating Hickson and there was some controversy to it. Now, if that's true or not, who cares? Like, but then no one's talking about you in that caliber. Like, we're talking about another not another level above you, like not in the same fucking hemisphere, So when he's explaining something to you, you really don't have an opinion. Like, you shouldn't have an opinion, because it's like me talking to a Harvard professor about quantum physics. I don't know. I did physics in high school and failed it miserably. So a lot of people don't even understand what that difference is. Like, they really don't. Like, you got to be at a certain level, I think, to even not question Sergio, but to even get what he's saying. Like sometimes when he's explaining stuff to me, I don't need Master Sergio to explain it to me, because Duda is way better than me, and Duda's like his son. That's like this young kid, and he's way better than me to show me stuff that I can't even grasp the concepts of what they're doing yet. You know, so as far as me questioning if Master Sergio should be doing something or not, it's like, man, like you don't even get it. And then the thing is, sometimes they'll show you something and it's a concept, and then when they show it to you, like you have to practice that, and the position has to mature, and you have to learn how to do that position and get into it or whatever. And it's the same thing with Justin's showing something, and people are like, I learned that in my first month of boxing.
But you never execute it properly. So
mate, it's not just executing, it's also like you jab and you feint, but then you got to know when to jab and when to feint, and when to jab, and so on and so forth. And that takes years and years and years and years and years of doing it. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think a lot of them. I'm not personally having a go with it. I'm just saying I don't think a lot of people understand that. I don't think people understand that. Like Sergio didn't get there because he won a contest. Sergio is a legend because he did jiu-jitsu for 9 hours a day, 6 days a week. You know, like.
I think Fab's been nice, but I think they were trash. Like I think you should just shut up and do the training, because you're no one. You've done nothing in the sport, and no one will care if you do well or not, because you do nothing. You can't even understand the basic concepts, the basic principles. You complain about things you can't even execute. It's like, yeah, the only place you should be fighting is behind a pub.
Thoughts on Juan Espino winning the Ultimate Fighters? I noticed that on YouTube that he competed in some sort of Spanish wrestling. There's like, he's from the Canary Islands, and that's the wrestling that's from the Canary Islands. What do you think about Juan winning?
I think he's going to do big things in the UFC. I think he's going to be a nightmare for the guys at the top. He trains hard, he's switched on, he does the right things, and his grappling is like top tier. Not to mention his physical prowess. Like, he's so strong, and you mix that with like good wrestling and good grappling, he's going to be a nightmare for those guys, man.
If you got the opportunity in the future to move up and fight John Jones, would you, or is the size difference too big?
Nah, give it a crack. Why not?
I remember when, that's going to be the question if you're New Zealander or Australian, but we've answered that too many times. What was the hardest fight of your career to date by Young Pickle?
That second Romero fight was a nightmare of a fight. Yeah, that's probably my hardest.
Who wins at the buffet table, Rob or Gastelum?
Probably Gastelum. He can eat, that guy.
Diggsy Dugan asks, when you're in camp, does someone follow you around and feed you when it's needed, and or to stop you eating shit?
Yeah, I have Justin Fitzgerald follow me around with a packed lunch, and whenever I'm hungry I go, and he feeds it in.
Tristan Cannell asks another question. He says, another question between the three coaches, who is responsible for instructions between rounds?
This isn't a question for me.
Yeah, another question. Who is responsible for instructions between the rounds? Like, who gives you instructions between the rounds?
Alex and Justin generally give the instructions. Yeah, more or less.
So, in general, what happens is, like, the closer we get to actual fight, the less my role is in Rob's preparation and so to speak, and then generally the closer we get to the fights, the more Alex and Justin take over, and then in the striking department primarily it's Justin that will give the feedback, and Alex will speak about the fight and or the grappling, but in general the fight in general is we'll say something to Alex, and then Alex will say it to Rob, so you don't have three people screaming at once. So both Justin and I will give our feedback to Alex. But I'm a lot of the times myself will I'll watch like on the big screen.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll turn around and I'll watch what's happening on the big screen because I want to see what's happening in the corner as well. If I can see, if they don't need me in that moment, I'll look up on the screen to see. Sometimes you can see the other fighter and that if they're hurt.
Different angle.
Yeah, if people, you can see if they're hurt or even the interaction that's happening with the corner, and I'll watch the fight up on the screen as well, and then I'll give my feedback to Alex. Alex will say what he needs to say to Rob, and Justin will give his feedback to Alex as well. But there'll be times where Justin will just talk to Rob.
Yep.
You know, so hopefully that answers the questions, Tristan. Justin from Stand Strong Boxing asks what your thoughts are on him being the handball squash champion.
Yeah, I think he isn't who he once was. I think his last couple of wins have been really scraping the barrel. You know, he as he likes to say, he's under duress, but that's everyone's under duress. He's just not all together anymore. He's not you know the 2000. Hey, he's not who he used to be. So you know,
and he crumbles under pressure.
He crumbles under pressure, and I'm just getting better, and it's starting to scare him, and he's starting to crack up here. So yeah, danger.
Ken Lamb wants to know, regardless of weight class, who's the most intriguing opponent you would want to test your skills against to prove you are the pound for pound great?
Hey,
who, regardless of weight class, who would you like to prove yourself against?
Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse would be a good fight.
That'd be a good fight for me. Joking, Mighty Mouse. I love you.
Do you interact on video games and that? Because you're a gamer and he's a gamer?
No, we don't interact on games, but I've met him a bunch of times.
Yep.
Very, very cool bloke. Very cool bloke.
Who you got, Askren or Lawler?
I'm thinking Askren.
Who you got?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Askren. I like Robbie Lawler just because who he is, I guess. But I can't have enough of opinion on that. I haven't seen too much of Ben's fight, so...
Dizzy Dugan wants to know, who have you guys got, Silva or Israel?
I think Israel takes that win, but yeah, I think he takes that win. I think he's a really bad matchup for Anderson.
What do you think?
I think so too. I think he's a young, better version of Anderson. How old's Anderson now?
43 or something, 44.
Yeah, I just think it's time. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you should go fight old Vanderlei or something. Do you know what I mean? Like stick to Chelson and 3, maybe something like that would be a good fight. But
yeah, another thing is there's never been, other than maybe Mark, there might be a few, but nearly all those guys that fought into their 40s with like varying degrees of success, every single one of those guys has at some point, inadvertently or otherwise, popped positive for steroids. There's been none of them have fought.
What's the layoff Anderson's had now?
I don't know.
You know, it's been,
I don't know.
16 months. Well, it's been a fair while, but so I think he's just up against it in every aspect of it. Younger, more hungry opponent.
When are you hitting the sand dunes again for sprints? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I hit the sand dunes up once a week, and just to work low impact, high cardio sort of work, endurance cardio. It's a nightmare out there. It's getting hot here in Australia, so it's not very fun. But we try to get out there once a week and get it done.
As a Māori, do you feel you're part of a wider Polynesian community, or do you feel that's an overgeneralization? As a Japanese, I feel it's kind of weird to lump 3 billion people under Asian.
No, that's a hard question. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very proud of my Māori heritage. Yeah, and I guess I don't really lump myself in the Polynesian crowd. You know, we're kind of very similar in certain ways, in certain aspects, but I don't take offence to it or anything like that.
But you all come from the same
Yeah.
people. The language
Yeah.
is very similar.
Yeah,
and
we're all
whatnot.
very similar in some ways. The structure, the bone structure, the cultures.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Rob, anything that's coming up for you?
So everyone knows I'm fighting Kelvin Gaslam in Melbourne, February 10. That'll be exciting. That'll be a very good fight. My birthday's coming up, so that's very exciting for me. Now, just a lot of training over the New Year's. There's another Christmas and New Year's.
I was going to say that's been a thing for you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Over the Christmas and New Year.
Another Christmas and New Year's. I don't get to binge and do what I want, but it's fun. It's better this way. I'm gonna appreciate what I can and just get ready.
Do you have any questions or anything you'd like?
No, just I guess. No, thank you. For
All
today.
right, thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Peace.